1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
I haven't kept track.
I won.
Hello, friends. Welcome to User Friendly, episode 66.
Actually, I think that's right.
I think 66. My name is Roberto Hoyos, and I own a company called Throwboy. I'm here with my friend.
Indeed, I'm Irfan Elijah. You might know me from the Cultcast podcast. I think a few of you are watching this one as well, and actually listening to this one now as well.
Yeah.
So, welcome to the audio if you're listening in.
User Friendly is a weekly show where we talk about tech news and geek stuff and our favorite stuff on the web and all that kind of stuff. But like I said, we don't get too contrived with the geek word, okay? If you're thinking
This episode, we're talking about Intel cache.
no,
Which one's better, level 2 or level 3?
I mean the people that go like internets and overboard with the.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
We talk about
we
this
don't
before.
pluralize things on the internet just to sound like we're just a little bit cooler than everybody else.
It's who does that though is people that are like about 40 years old, but they still want to be hip.
Yeah.
And they're into tech. they're doing these podcasts where they do that. Sorry about that if that's you. But yeah, man, we're back for another show. So how are you?
I'm fantastic. I was just thinking,
What?
for those listening to the audio, I can give them a little audio treat.
Now you're thirsty. That's your rum and coke.
That's my rum. There's no Coke in here, except for the line I did before this show. Fantastic. It's so nice outside. Doesn't it just make you feel better about life in general?
Yeah, it's like
And it's actually like light outside.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's my favorite part.
Yeah, me too.
Because we live in Seattle, and Seattle is just we have these long winters, right? Long falls, and all of a sudden it's now bright outside, and it's 7:00.
But the nice thing is, like, once it starts getting lighter, or once it starts getting like later in the summertime,
yeah,
it stays light till 9 or 9:30
it's awesome,
p.m.
dude. I
It's
can't wait.
Great.
Because I love going to Gasworks Park.
Me too.
And
Having a bonfire.
yeah, having like just chilling there, and it's like sunny, and you can eat,
And the
have a
sun's going
picnic.
down.
Like it seems so like normal. Like if you live in California, that's like
You're like, we do that every day.
But here
Yeah.
it's like people go crazy when it's sunny.
We have a 2-week time span to do that before the winter comes. It's like the Starks in Game of Thrones. Winter's coming. That's our saying up here. Hey,
So-
check out this indestructible case that I got.
Hey,
I'm reviewing it.
This is Batman's case.
I'm just bringing it up randomly. It's a Saito Obex case, but the reason I bring it up is because speaking of summertime, that thing's totally waterproof. Like submersible waterproof.
Oh, is this a screen part?
That's the screen part, yeah.
Oh, weird.
So it's 100% waterproof, which means that you can take the actual iPhone into the water.
Whoa.
And the cool thing is the lens on the back is actually an anti-reflective glass lens. A lot of times they just put plastic on them. Mm-hmm. So I was like, it's going to be cool because when we go swimming in the summertime, you guys will be able to see some topless pics of me.
We can do a whole user-friendly underwater.
We can.
Oh, we didn't figure that part out.
The episode's going to be 30 seconds long.
So I have some news.
Yeah.
I just got approved for my Kickstarter
Woo!
that I'm working on.
Here, we should do with our rums for those audio listeners. Rum.
So yeah, I'm doing a Kickstarter for Throwboy.
Yep.
And I just got approved so that we can launch it. So we're going to be launching it on
That's exciting.
Friday coming up. So if you're listening to this on Monday, or we're going to be launching it on Friday, look on Throwboy's Twitter for the link, but also just search Kickstarter and for Throwboy, and you'll be
Tons
able
of
to see
new pillows coming out too.
Yeah, so the Kickstarter is to raise funds to make a production run of the chat pillows. So the chat pillows are like our best-selling thing we've ever done.
Yeah.
And we want to get those in stores and like be able to have really fast turnaround to customers instead of, making one by one when the orders come in. So we want to do this big bulk order. And I'm really excited because, I've been doing Throwboy for 5 years.
Gosh, it's crazy.
And, I've just made all these contacts, and so many people have praised, that they like us and stuff. And I'm like, okay, I want to just rally all of that good energy into this Kickstarter, and hopefully everybody can, help and support it and tweet it and all that kind of good stuff. So Friday, April 26th, the Kickstarter will be up.
Cool. So that's that'll be cool because that means next show it will have just launched.
Yeah.
So we'll kind of like have an idea of like how well it's going.
Yeah.
It'll be going well, obviously.
I hope so.
How much money are you asking for?
20,000.
That's what, I think maybe you told me that because I knew that.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, that seems very doable.
I hope so.
I mean, maybe you'll go. Maybe you'll go Jeff Kanata, end up raising like 170.
Well, we have some cool stretch goals. We're I think it's at 23,000. There's we'll unlock a new pillow, and then we're gonna do a few more after that. So there'll be
So are you gonna be
pillows.
like, if we get to this amount, then we're gonna unlock this pillow?
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so
gotcha,
one of the
gotcha.
first unlocks is the BFF chat pillow. So we've
Yeah.
never done a BFF chat pillow. It's been requested a lot, so we want to have that be like one of our first ones. And what was the other one? If we're gonna do like a new subscribe throw baby, like a small version one.
I can't believe you don't have one of those.
Yeah,
already.
so like a few other things that we haven't had, but then one cool thing, if you guys, the Apple fans coming from your side of the pond, we're gonna be blowing out the very last of our secret stash of
right.
ICEOs. So we have these ICEO dolls sold out on our website. We hoarded a few of them, and now we're gonna get rid of those just on the Kickstarter.
So you can't even purchase them. You have to donate.
Yeah.
To get one of those.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that's pretty exciting for anybody that's like, oh, I missed out on the ICEO.
Yeah, which probably is most people.
A lot of people
Since you
that
guys
heard
can
about
sell
it afterwards.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah. Big
Well, I
news.
didn't want to. I don't want to steal any of your thunder, but I'm also starting a Kickstarter
You always do that.
for my pillow company, Toss Girl, and we have the Express Yourself pillows,
Yeah.
and they're kind of like the chat pillows that you have, except that that little pointer thing it goes the opposite direction.
Why didn't
Yeah,
I think of that?
yeah, which is I think is a more natural way to do it.
Yeah.
And then we have the ICEO, but it's EYE. Because he has different color eyes than the ones that you made after us. Because I know ours was first.
Dude, you think of really good ideas. Like I don't even want to hate. And you're coming out with like the pillow bashers or something like that.
Pillow bashers are going to be a big product for us. Yeah, we're basing them on popular heroes
Yeah.
who are
Political hero.
political heroes. Yeah, this is gonna be an Al Gore pillow. There's gonna be a George Washington pillow. I think that's gonna be a big seller.
Speaking of those, it's
Yeah.
funny. Do you remember when we were young? There was like those WWF like pillow.
Oh
like
yeah.
Hulk Hogan and
Oh
stuff?
yeah.
So one of our watchers or listeners keeps asking, he's like, when are you gonna do a Hulk Hogan pillow fighter? I'm like, those exist.
yeah.
Like you can go on eBay and get one of those.
How
I'm
much
not
are
gonna-
they?
I don't know. But
Oh,
you
can you
remember that?
imagine the stink
Yeah.
that those are
It's
covered
like
with?
in a little
Ugh.
kid's room all his
Some
life.
little kid drooled all over it. His dog chewed on it. It's been in a box in his garage growing mold for 20 years.
It's been in Jesse's garage.
Yeah.
Since 1989.
So grody. Oh, hey, speaking of
Fans?
we're gonna do something really special. Roberto prepared this, so thank you for doing that.
No problem.
So somebody bought some Throwboy stuff,
Yeah.
and then they tweeted you, right? Tell us what happened, because I don't even know. I'm not even sure I know.
Customer bought some Throwboys, and he emailed me, and he was like, hey, I love the show. I love user friendly, which is awesome. Thank you. And he wanted to know if we could give him an autograph picture.
Yeah.
And so I said, I think we can get that done. So we have this for you.
Yeah, which is our audio listeners. This is a photograph of our iTunes picture.
Yes, thank you. I forgot. I'm like, why are you describing it?
For those listening, in my hand I'm holding a photo of Roberto and I shrugging.
Yeah. What's the story behind this picture?
Well, we have a mutual friend named Akbar
Yeah.
who's in the Navy.
Uh-huh.
And no, he's never seen Star Wars, so he doesn't get that joke. But he does this a lot. Like when you tell him about something and he's like, I don't think that's right.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and you're like, no, I think that's the way it goes.
But typically he's right.
But he's usually right.
No,
which
he's
is-
always right.
But which is the infuriating part.
Yeah.
And he wears a blazer.
Yeah.
With like short sleeve shirts and stuff under it.
With like Ed Hardy shirts on.
Ed
it.
Hardy shirts. And he wears loafers with no socks.
Mm-hmm.
And his jeans come up like a couple inches right above his shoes. You might know an Akbar.
Ladies know. Ladies love him.
Ladies love Akbar. He has a certain kind of magic.
But we took that before we started the show.
Oh, right. So this is actually, this photo was taken. I used to have a photography studio in this artist building in downtown Seattle, and I used to do these photo projects. We got massive traffic through this building. It was like a 5-story building, and we probably had 10, 15,000 people walk through in one night.
Jesus Christ, what?
It was huge. And so we would do these art walk projects where I would come up with like an experiment, and then people wouldn't know what they needed to do
In front of your backdrop or whatever.
in front of my backdrop until we actually took the shot. And then I would tell them what to do, and they'd have like a couple seconds to react.
Yep.
It was fun. The building got torn down, so we all got booted, but this is a picture that survived. So
Yeah.
we're going to sign it right now. Do you want to go first?
Okay.
We have a nice gold pen
Yeah.
that I procured just for this. Let me open it for you.
Thank
There you
sir.
Don't sign mine, sign yours.
Okay. I'm professional at this. And then you like bump my arm.
It goes like off the page and up my couch.
Like, serves you right. All right.
I'm gonna have to get my charger here in a minute.
There you go.
Dude, that looks so good. What's the person's name?
Nathan, I think. Let me look it up. Hold on. You want to write something fancy?
Yeah, I'm gonna write his name.
Okay, hold on. But yeah, that was cool. I thought that was a nice little request. Couldn't pass that up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry. Say something interesting.
So the thing about clams, if
Yeah.
you're trying to get them open, when you're shucking them, you have to take a knife.
Okay, his name is Nathan.
Okay, cool. So you can look up how to shuck a clam on the internet. So I'm gonna say, dearest, dearest
Makes
Nathan,
mine just seem so pedestrian now.
dearest Nathan.
Oh yeah, let me record you.
These are my nipples. Make little arrows to them. There's one. And then thanks
Those are really
for
low.
watching UF. Dude, I hope this pen dries
Me too.
because it looks like it's kind of moist. It's like, but look how perfect yours is.
What do you mean?
Like mine's all like.
Oh yeah, no, mine's kind of. It's like speckling too. But
All right, well
it's all
this
good.
is a permanent marker.
All right.
Thanks for watching, Nathan.
Yeah.
And if you listen to Cultcast, thanks for listening to that too.
Yeah.
You're one of the 100 people that listen to that show, and I appreciate every one of you. All right, cool.
All right.
So we got a great show planned. We're gonna talk about some Star Wars news.
Oh yeah.
The heck just happened there?
And some.
We're gonna talk about Twitter.
Yeah.
And then we are doing our Netflix review. Hope you all watched the movie. I know that I did.
If you haven't, pause right now.
Pause right now.
Go watch Just for Kicks on Netflix.
And not just the number for kicks.
No.
Because did you know that's a new movie on Netflix?
No.
Do you know those two twins that played in that Adam Sandler movie?
Yeah.
They're in a movie called Just for Kicks.
With a number 4.
With the number 4.
A big number 4.
Yeah, and that is not the one you want to watch. Because I watched like 10 seconds of it, and I'm like, no, this can't be it. Because like Netflix just automatically starts playing it. But it was super corny. Like the 10 seconds that I saw were so dumb that you don't even want to waste 10 seconds watching it.
I gotta be careful about that next time.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get into the show.
Okay, so let's talk about Star Wars news.
Dun,
This
dun,
made me-
dun. Everyone
Dun,
loves
dun,
his
dun,
Star
dun.
Wars.
So-
Every topic we talk about is about Star Wars.
About Star Wars. Another Star Wars topic to talk about. We will get excited about. So Disney on just a few days ago, I can't believe this wasn't bigger news, announced that they're going to be coming out with a new Star Wars movie every year. And I was like, every year for how long? So at least until 2020.
Jeez, no way.
Yeah, so they're going to be coming out. They're going to be doing the new Star Wars movies on the odd years. Mm-hmm. So 2015, this is when this all starts. Mm-hmm. They're releasing the new Star Wars trilogy movies.
Right.
But then in the off years, 16, 18, 20, they're releasing character films. So they're going to start going into the Star Wars universe and making movies just about certain characters, which I was so excited when I heard this. I was like, there's so many characters they could dive into
And build out.
and build out.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was
C-3PO movie.
Yeah, that would be so great. It would be subtitled, of course. No, sorry, the R2D2 one would be subtitled because the whole movie would just be like.
I always wanted to know more about that big warthog pig thing that guards the
Jabba the Hutt's
me
place.
too. So I want a whole movie about that.
That's gonna be the dialogue in the movie.
Do they give any details, or do they just give you like a sentence press release? Like, is there any more real information, or what? It's all speculation.
No, it's none of it's speculation. Okay, so the off-year movies are going to be standalone films. So they're not going to be trilogies. Of course, they say that, but if they have one that makes like $1 billion, guess what's turning into a trilogy,
Like the
right?
Hobbit type
Yeah,
of thing,
they're
yeah.
totally going to do that. So there's rumors that the first one is going to focus. The first three might focus on a young Boba Fett, a young Han Solo. That would be cool.
Could be cool, yeah.
And a young Yoda, which might not be cool because they're gonna make it super CG.
Like a Pixar movie.
Yeah, it's gonna probably be a Pixar movie. So, what do you think about this? Do you like it?
What else? Tell me a little more. What else they got?
That's all there is. They just announced this at CinemaCon.
Okay.
They said episode 7 is still on track for 2015. But then they said there's gonna be a new Star Wars movie every summer after that.
So, I was just talking about this on my stream Sunday, Ustream. And I was just talking about how, like, even though stuff sounds cool, like, we can make, like, the best movie in our mind based off, like, just a little bit of text like that, right? But, I don't know, I've gotten to the point where I'm like, I don't really get amped about a movie until I see a trailer, until I see something tangible. So that's why I'm like, I want to see what they mean by that. You know what I mean? Because it could go one or two ways. It could be like really lame, and it could be like Superman Returns, where it had a cool trailer and it was a piece of crap movie, or
Jar Jar Returns.
but like that kind of thing. So I don't know. It's I can't get that excited until I see something bigger.
So the news in itself doesn't excite you?
Not that much.
Okay.
I mean, why does it excite you that they're making so many?
I think for me,
You think that's going to be like a quality move there? Like,
I think it could be, yeah. I mean, I think one of my worries is that they're going to overdo it, and they're not going to have enough resources to really flesh this out well. I mean, there's only so many great movie makers, right? And so many great screenwriters. So that's a worry for me. The other worry is like, I hope this isn't just like a money grab. Like, they just spent a lot of money securing the rights to all the Star Wars stuff.
They got a lot of money, dude.
They do. They have a lot of money, but I'm like, is this a move to, oh, we own Star Wars. Oh, we gotta sell, right? We're gonna merchandise like crazy, which you know they will. We're gonna come out with these movies and just keep pumping them out. So I kind of hope that they give it the attention that they deserve.
Star Wars merchandise like crazy anyway. What are they gonna do more than that?
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, 5 new movies in 5 years. Imagine the merchandising push that's going to be behind that.
Yeah, I mean, especially if they invent new characters, right?
Yeah, which they will.
But
I'm sure.
I don't know. I mean, they own Marvel, and they didn't all of a sudden, turn money grabby for Marvel. Marvel's just like still going strong, still
better than ever. Actually,
coming out with really good movies.
Disney
out with
owns
Iron
Marvel.
Man. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, dude, they own.
Wait, who owned Marvel before?
Crazy, right? Marvel.
But they weren't allowed to create movies, were they?
Well, I mean, they didn't have a movie studio.
Well,
so it wasn't until more recently when they did, what was their first studio movie? I don't remember. But it wasn't until later they took reins of doing their own movies. But before that, they would sell the license to like Sony for Spider-Man.
I think there's something that happened with Sony that prevented them from doing it. Because remember, I remember
they still have the rights to do those.
They do?
Yeah.
They're in the Avengers to have all those characters come together in one movie.
They that's under the Marvel Studio name.
Okay,
Yeah.
but
That's
before
why
they
they
weren't
could
able
do
to
that.
do something like that. All right, to have all these independent movies and then have them all come together in one movie.
Yeah.
I swear that's never been done before.
No, that's the only reason they could do it is because they had the movie property under their own studio, right?
right. But I wonder why they weren't able to do it earlier.
Well,
like
it
what
would
prevented
have
them?
looked like ass.
You think so?
Yes.
I don't know. They could have done.
Absolutely, it would have.
They could have done a Thor movie. That didn't need to be as much CG as it was.
Well, maybe, but I think it needed to ride on the backs of the rest of the Avengers movies. You know, like I don't think Thor is that great of a thing that people are. That
I don't either,
into,
actually.
You know?
Yeah.
Like so, Iron Man took off, and they were like, "Whoa, Iron Man was like a B character," and all of a sudden he's like everybody knows, and everyone's
really need to
excited
watch
about
those
Iron
movies.
Man, right? And yeah. So anyway, like that's I don't know why we got on that tangent, but yeah, they do own Marvel.
Okay. I guess for me, the reason I went there because I'm like, dude, Disney owns everything now.
Dude, tell me about
Star Wars, and now they own Marvel. Apparently, it's like
Pixar.
they own Pixar. I mean, all of the biggest franchises in movies.
Tell me about it, dude. It popped into my mind the other day because of.
I'm not sure that's a good thing.
Yeah, because of all the sketching and stuff I've been doing for Pillow Fighters, and then I'm like, oh yeah, like so Marvel licenses this, and I'm like thinking of business licensing deals and shit, and I'm like, wait, never mind. Disney owns every idea, pretty much that I'm like working on here.
Yeah.
To have licensed characters, it's like now you got to go to Disney for all that, right?
I wonder too. I mean, Lucasfilm, I don't think ever really wanted to produce their own toys. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. I don't know for sure. But it seemed like they would license out a lot of stuff.
What do you mean? Oh,
Well, rather than make it themselves, they would license it and let other people make it.
Oh,
is
did-
my impression. I don't know if that's true.
I don't know. Maybe that's true, but I know that when Star Wars was coming out, like that was a main thing that he wanted to do was merchandise, like have action figures of these people that are in this movie. Like he was one of the first people to think of that idea to go and like directly start merchandising the characters in the movie.
When the original Star Wars came out?
The original Star Wars came out, yeah.
Because now I'm like, well, Disney is not... I guess where I'm going with this is I wonder if Disney is going to kind of restrict some of those licensing agreements and just be like, why would we license it to you? We can make it. We're Disney. Like, this is what we do for a living. You know what I mean? It's like, we make movies and we license and we merchandise. Like, that's what we do.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. There's got to be like so many levels, so many layers to that. You know what I mean? Like, who goes out and finds like what is there? There's a new hot toy, and they're gonna turn it into our toy. You know, like it's a lot less work for them to do that, right? Something that's already built like a following or something like that.
Yeah.
Like Funko, for example. Funko built a following, and it's like, oh, now we want to do Mickey Mouse. It's like, okay, do it. You know.
I guess that's true. Yeah, and if it's making them money,
Yeah.
then they're going to be like, just give us our money and we're cool.
But
Hey, before we move on to, we want to talk about Just for Kicks, our Netflix movie review. I think we're going to talk about Netflix music, right?
no, we're gonna talk about Twitter music.
I mean, Twitter music, because there is no such thing as Netflix music. At least not yet. Dun dun dun.
Net listens.
Nettunes.
Netflix.
Netflix. That might be something different altogether. So,
CKS, by the way.
I am getting over a monster cold, by the way. So if you listened to last week's Cult Cast, if you heard me wheezing,
Oh my god. You were doing the Muttley laugh.
I could not help it.
You had the giggles that episode.
I know.
What was wrong with you?
I was on a lot of drugs.
You were super laughy.
Yeah. We were just, you know what? You guys, the thing about Cult Cast is you guys did not get to hear any of the pre-show because we were talking about the wackiest topics. Like we were talking about Alex's trip to Jamaica and all the ganja that he didn't smoke. We were like, "Do you smoke some ganja?" And he's telling us all these crazy stories about how people were trying to sell it to him. And there's all this stuff that happens before the show that I wish people could listen to.
Yeah.
Because that's why I was so laughy. That's why Leander was so laughy. Because we spent a good 20 minutes just laughing about the dumbest stuff. And then you heard the beginning, and I was like, "Let's start.
Yeah.
Let's start. And everyone's like, talking. Anyhow,
Okay.
Twitter music.
Yeah.
Do you want to try to attempt to explain to us
Twitter music.
what Twitter music is?
I can try. So this was released last week. Twitter released music.twitter.com or hashtag Twitter or hashtag music on the App Store.
Hashtag Twitter.
So that's their new music app and music site. Basically, it's like a social music discovery tool. So there's tons and tons of bands on Twitter and groups and artists, and there's people always tweeting about what they're listening to or whatnot. So they have now pulled that together into this interface. We'll look at the web interface.
Yeah, let's just look at the web interface, actually.
Do you have... Okay.
Yeah.
So they made it so you can basically like...
Damn it, I always do that.
You can see...
We'll post the picture I just took.
You can see what's popular, like what's trending right now.
Dude, I love this Prince album. Oh my god, it's one of my favorites.
So you can see kind of what's popular. As you can see, if you hover over it, it allows you to play a sample.
Yep.
And then I believe if we can go to the side, I don't really know how you do it. How do I go to the side? Oh, maybe it's just here. Okay, so popular, emerging, suggested, now playing, and then artists that you follow. So basically, it's a way to kind of discover new music, popular music, and what your friends are tweeting about. If your friends are actually using Twitter like this, and that's their hope that people are going to start using Twitter. Like, oh, I'm listening to hashtag Red Hot Chili Peppers or whatever, you know. So. And then also it connects to your Spotify or Audio account. So if you do stumble onto something that you want to, listen to the whole thing, it will play the whole thing rather than just play a sample. If you don't have the whole thing, or if you don't have either one of those accounts, it will kick you to iTunes and say like, oh, do you want to download it on iTunes?
Yeah, let me go ahead and do that.
Yeah, seriously. So, what is this? Emerging, so that's why I'd never heard of any of these people. Suggested. Oh yeah, you have to sign in.
Okay.
And we'll listen to this. So this is called Eleanor Only? Oh, Eleanor Friedberger.
I actually kind of like that.
So that's kind of what I know so far, and
That's pretty cool.
What do you think so far? What do you think of social music discovery in general? Do you like that?
I don't know. I mean, I think in general people have bad taste in music.
Oh my god, come on.
I'm dead serious.
Get off your high horse.
No.
That means that you have good taste in music.
No, that's not what I mean. But let me explain what I mean. Whenever I look at a top music chart, I always see crappy artists. Rihanna's on there.
Yeah.
Give me another top artist, like top, 50 artists that's going to be on Billboard.
Maroon 5.
Exactly. And actually, we just watched a YouTube video of somebody explaining some of the Twitter music stuff. And he's explaining the artists that are on the popular page. It's Maroon 5. It's Rihanna. It's Will I Am. Yeah, it's like all this music that I don't like.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. It's like general pop music is stuff that's marketed well, and it may not necessarily be good music at all.
Yeah. It's like not your taste.
It's
right?
not my taste, and
that's kind of my fear is that the Twitter sphere pooled together has shitty music taste.
yeah.
Because like if you look at the trending topics, it's always like some stupid bullshit,
Dude, they had to
right?
change the freaking Twitter algorithm so Justin Bieber would stop appearing at the top of the list. Okay? They had to change it just for him.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't want to listen to a Justin Bieber album. I don't want to listen to a Rihanna album. I don't want to listen to a Maroon 5 album. I don't want to listen to a Train album.
Oh my
and these are all
God.
the things that show up on the top page
How is
all the
Train
time.
still around?
Dude, I don't know. So,
It's awful.
like, my taste in music, whether or not you guys would like it or not, I don't know. It's more eclectic. I listen to a lot of older stuff. Like, they're never going to show me a Led Zeppelin live album on here that I'd never heard.
No.
You know what I mean?
This is basically for, maybe emerging sounds a little bit more intriguing because I've never heard of any of these people. But yeah, if it's stuff that's like old but really good, like you're never gonna find it, right?
Right.
It's like, oh, I've never listened to Earth, Wind and Fire, but you're never gonna fucking find it here unless one of
Yeah,
your friends is following them, like, you know, and they're not even
Exactly.
around anymore. So it's like, why are you having a Twitter account for them if that's the case? I don't know if that is the case, though.
I also find that they're always like find out what your friends are listening to, and I find like a lot of my friends that are using Twitter
Yeah.
have like this really niche taste in indie music that I just don't really care for. I think a lot of indie bands are indie because they're just not very good. Like if they were good, they'd get a lot more popular. Just my opinion. So for me, it's like I don't want to hear about all these indie bands that all really kind of sound the same. I don't want to hear about all these singer-songwriters that all kind of sound the same.
I think that's kind of like the bigger issue is like, not everybody is into this kind of like sharing what they're listening to.
Yeah.
Because not a lot of people give a crap of
Right.
what their friends are listening to. I think early on, and this is all experimental. Same thing with Facebook connecting Spotify. That was all experimental. And I think a lot of people got sick of it. At first, they thought, "Oh, it's gonna be so cool." Oh my god, your dog's dying.
Nah, she does that.
People thought. You remember when that was announced, the Spotify thing, connecting to Facebook?
Yes.
And people were like really into it, and all of a sudden your feed was full of that, and then people slowly decide like learn that okay, it's annoying. You know, no one really cares what you're listening to. Like that's not how I get turned on to new music.
Yeah.
Like you kind of almost have to drag me kicking and screaming to be like, listen to this. I know you will like it. You know, and I'm like, okay, fine, I'll listen to it. But
Yeah.
most of the time, I'm like, I like my music to be personal. I like to discover it on my own. I like to, you know, find bands on my own, whether it be like out and about and with Shazam, or whether it be listening to an artist I do like on Pandora, and then it kicks me over to stuff I've never heard.
That's a good way
you
that I
know?
do it, yeah.
And I mean, even I watched the Pandora, an interview with the Pandora CEO, I think he is, and he's like, we always want our service to be feel like it's very personal and very like tailored to just you,
Yeah.
like just you listening. We don't. That's why we don't do anything where it's like tweeting out links, or we don't do anything that's piping into your Facebook account. And I think that's a really cool approach because like I feel like a lot of people I talk to are like that. They're like, no, I like that it's my music. You know, do you feel like that?
Well, I don't know if I necessarily care that much about that. Like, I don't mind people seeing what I'm listening to, but I think it's broken because Spotify plays stuff that you may or may not like, you know? So, and the Spotify radio is not nearly as good as Pandora. So, and there's people that listen to music all day. Like, actually, I do now. I'm listening to music all the time. So, when everyone's listening to music all the time, it kind of just has stuff flying by, and you may or may not see it. But, like
mean on
you...
Facebook?
On Facebook,
Oh,
yes.
okay.
Like you also, it's like, just because I see someone listening to a song, I'm like, I'm not necessarily going to go listen to that song. Like, for me, I'm more drawn to curated music sources. Like, there's a radio station I listen to. It's an internet radio station called Soma FM. Or it's called Groove Salad. And it's on Soma FM. You can check it out. And I listen to that because they always play stuff that I like. Or a great source that I found is, this is so crazy. You know the show Last Call with Carson Daly?
Yeah.
That show is actually pretty good, and they always have like brand new artists they feature. I have found so many artists on that show that I'm like, whoa, these guys are actually really good, and they're not just indie cool. Like they're actually musical. They know how to play their instruments. Like they're dynamic. You know, like I'm like, wow, these guys actually know what they're doing. I found a lot of good music from there, and then Pandora obviously is just awesome.
It's funny you didn't like it up until like a few months ago.
When I had last tried it, it was not good.
Yeah.
And that was years ago.
Yeah.
But now it's actually
It's
great.
really good, yeah.
But let me ask you this: when you're creating a Pandora radio station, do you find that a lot of your stations end up sounding similar?
What do you mean?
Well, I like for example, I'll start a Led Zeppelin station and then I'll start a Journey station, right?
Yeah.
Two totally different bands.
Yeah.
But then as I train the station, they both end up playing the exact same music.
Oh, really?
All the time. I have like 5 stations, and they all end up playing the exact same music.
Well, I think that what happens is I'll only do. I kind of know that. I know that it does that. Like I know its behavior, I guess. So I'll only do that on purpose. Like if I'm like,
Off.
I really want to listen to this style of music, and then I'll put in like two people that sound almost the same, and then I'm like, okay, it's probably gonna play that at some point.
That actually might be more my problem.
But no, I mean, I don't have that problem. If I'm just going to like Q-Tip radio, and then I go to like Led Zeppelin radio. I don't have to worry about it. But
when you play 50 Cent,
Yeah.
it's not the same songs as when you play Mariah Carey. My Mariah
I
Carey
don't have
station.
either one of those.
I would rather punch myself in the face than listen to a 50 Cent radio station for an hour.
Yeah,
like if
God.
you gave me the choice, I'd be like, all right, how hard do I have to punch?
Yeah.
And what part of my face can I hit?
And that brings us to our next topic.
Okay, yeah. All right, let's wrap up. Let's see if we can make it through this without me having to go get out my battery charger. So,
Whoa. So yeah, Twitter Music, go check it out.
yeah,
See if you like
I
it. Tell us
accidentally
if you
pressed
like
that,
it.
but that's a nice segue.
Cut it out. No one wants to listen to your crappy music.
That's Poolside, Harvest Moon. All right, Netflix review. This is the segment where we review a movie that you could watch before we review it. This week's movie that we announced last week is called Just F-O-R Kicks, Just for Kicks,
As in shoes.
as in shoes, and not the numeral 4, which is a weird soccer movie. Actually, that's exactly what it
What is
was.
it?
It was
A
a soccer
soccer-
movie, yeah. So, Roberto, why don't you tell us about the documentary since you chose it?
Sure. All right, so this movie, Just for Kicks, is about sneakers and
Yep.
collectors, connoisseurs of sneakers.
Yeah.
And it basically talks to different people that are really into sneakers, really into sneaker collecting. They talk to, rappers and moguls and all this kind of people that are really into that culture. And they also talk to... They spend a good amount of time talking about hip hop culture because that's kind of where it all stemmed from. So, and then it goes to up to now and how it's a huge business for companies like Nike and Reebok and all those places that they would have never really thought of it being that business because, they're athletic footwear. And so now all of a sudden it's like its own, it dominates the amount of, like they show a pie graph. It's like 80% is for like, urban footwear or whatever they want to call it, and the rest is athletic, 20% athletic.
Wow.
So it's big, it's big business, and this movie talks about all that. So what do you think?
I was surprised and delighted
You
by
liked it?
this. Yeah,
Okay.
the first 10 minutes I was like, what the hell am I watching? Like, this sucks. But slowly, because the documentary isn't well made, I was like, oh, like
It lacks a little bit.
it
I agree.
lacks polish.
Yeah.
But what they made up for it with is just the great people that they talk to.
Yeah.
They have such a crazy array of characters.
Yeah.
Underlying characters that were around as this kind of sneaker revolution started to happen.
A lot of people from New York.
A lot of people from New York, a lot of people from other urban cities. They had Run DMC. Well, I guess 2 of them, right?
Yeah. Well, they had both of them.
And slowly but surely, I was like, this movie is great because it's very micro focused. And I thought it was gonna be focusing on people who loved sneakers more in today's world. And I love that they just stayed on hip hop, the 70s, the 80s a little bit, and then that was it. And that's where they left it.
Yeah.
And they really did a great job at illustrating how these mega brands like Nike and Adidas used people that were involved in the hip hop world and then like athletes like Michael Jordan to create these mega brands.
Yeah.
And they did a really good job at illustrating, those people that have like that crazy passion for like sneakers. I mean, anything really.
Yeah, card collecting,
like they're really
cars.
obsessive
Yeah,
about those specific things, and they're geeks, right?
Yeah, they are.
Because they geek out. They know every little detail, and they are describing shoes and the differences between these shoes and who made them and how many were released, and you're just like, dude.
Yeah.
Like, who even knows this stuff? They did a really good job at showing you that world. And for me, it really kind of, in a strange way, took me back to my childhood. Because that culture, that hip-hop culture that we probably grew up with and we were really into when we were younger, had a way of just kind of evaporating as I got older, and I hadn't thought about it, hadn't felt those feelings in a really long time. And as they would describe the different sets of shoes, the different brands, the different artists, the Michael Jordan stuff, and then showing you those cityscapes, I was like, I just felt like I was back in junior high.
Yeah.
And I was like,
when it was like clothes was everything.
Yeah, exactly.
You had the right shoes. You had to wear.
You had like the parkas,
Yep.
remember? Like,
dude, I remember this shows my craftiness. I bought like a black sweatshirt and sewed a Nike thing on it.
Did you
because
really?
I couldn't afford a real Nike like swoosh sweatshirt, right? So like, I mean that. Like, yeah, you're right. It was like you had, it was cool if you had like the Jordans or whatever, know. I never had real
I didn't either.
Because they were like $100+ bucks. Yeah.
Yeah, and when I was younger, I mean, I was in elementary school when a lot of this stuff started coming out, and I was like, my parents were like,
hell no.
No, hell no, we're not buying you that. And then you get like the fake Jordans.
I had some fake Jordans.
And then everyone would clown on you because they're like, are those real? Because they're like, whoa, you have them?
Yeah.
And then they look at them and they're like, those aren't real.
Mine was like, instead of Jordan doing the pose, it was like two guys going up for the ball. So yeah, we remember this very well. But you're right. We were like, we were coming up in the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
And I really liked the segment about Jordan, about Michael Jordan.
Me too.
I thought that was really, really interesting because they were like, they had already tried to, it was like Nike wasn't even hot. If you can believe that. Nike wasn't even like a hot brand. And it was dominated by like Converse for basketball shoes. And they were...
That's crazy actually to think that.
Converse aligned themselves with Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. So those were like that was like the hot, cool shoe. And Nike was just, around, but they said they were trying to shed their white man runner image because that's what they were known for, right? And so they found this guy, Jordan, who was like, they were going to put all their chips on this new rookie, this promising rookie, Michael Jordan. He turns out to be the best basketball player in the
most
world.
mega star athlete of all time.
Yes. And then they also end up doing his own shoe, which was really interesting that he couldn't wear it on the court because it didn't match his uniform.
Right.
So every time that he would play in the black Jordans, he would get fined for it,
and then Nike would pay it.
And they were like they were.
It was millions of dollars too. They'd
yeah.
find him like $3 million, $4 million bucks.
Yeah. And so they showed it. Was it that much? I thought it was 100,000, 200,000, 300,000.
Unless I misread what I saw on the screen, I thought it was 3 million, 4 million. Like it probably started low, and then every time he did it, it probably.
Yeah. I don't know.
Snowballed. Actually, now I want to look it up.
But what was cool is that they spun that into actually an ad campaign where they were like, they show Jordan, they pan down to his feet, and then they put like black bars over it, and then it was like, well, luckily that you can get these still, like luckily you can actually buy them.
Yeah, right.
And it just made it even more cool because it was like, well, dang, those are the ones that aren't even allowed in the NBA, So I thought that was really interesting. The whole the time that they spent talking about that because. As an outsider, I'm always like, oh man, why are people so into Jordans? Like, man, all my friends were like, oh yeah, I got the JOs. Like, it was like a big deal to them, right? Because all my friends were like into hip hop, and I'm like, I never knew why it was like such a big deal, but I knew growing up, like 91, 92, 93, I always saw new Jordans. New Jordans were coming out every year, and that was a new thing too, that they would change it every year with a new style or every season or whatever it was. And so I like that they spent a little time on that because I'd always been sort of curious. It's like, what's the deal? And it said that Nike aligned themselves with some like avant-garde designer and marketing firm. So like all these things aligned, right? They had the perfect athlete, they had like the perfect marketing for it, they had the perfect designer, and then they had, Nike's money to do it.
It's incredible. And now, I mean, that whole legacy built that company into the mega company that it is today. And like you still go into a Nike store. How many years has it been since Jordan's played? 10, 15?
Probably more, yeah.
And they still have that iconic Jordan in the air holding the basketball, icon on all their stuff. And there are kids today that are probably 15, 20
Yeah, man.
who've never even seen him play.
Yeah, he was not on TV when they were alive.
Yeah, totally. And they're like, they just know that he was an incredible athlete somehow.
That must cement him into more of like an icon, like an iconic image.
Yeah.
Rather than a guy that actually was playing at some point, right?
Totally.
Which you can't really point to very many athletes like that are still, have a legacy with some sort of product, right? I mean, like, there's all these names that you can throw out, like great names of sports heroes, but they don't still have like a freaking shoe at Foot Locker now.
There's no Dan
right?
Marino jersey,
you know what
right?
I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
yeah, he created a legacy that's gonna live way, way, way past him.
Mm-hmm.
Because even now, I mean, there might be. Actually, I don't know. I don't watch basketball. I don't think there's a basketball player as good as him, even still today.
yeah.
But no one has the magic that he has. Like, he was one of the first to do what he did.
Mm-hmm.
And now everyone's following in his footsteps, but they're doing things that have already been done as far as, like, the shoes and all that stuff.
Yeah.
The clothing, the way of playing.
So, and then they spent a good amount on hip hop culture, which I probably, like you, sort of taken aback by that being, because like you said, the first 10 minutes, you're like, what am I watching? I felt like that too. I was just like, are we watching a hip hop documentary all of a sudden?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's cool, like, but I'm like, wait, what am I watching here? I think they're going off on a weird tangent, but then it kind of comes back full circle, and you realize that was an important part that they couldn't avoid talking about that.
You mean when everyone started getting all crazy with, like, their outfits?
Yeah,
and
like
stuff?
b-boy culture and hip hop emerging in the late 70s in New York, and then they talk about like the fashions in Harlem and stuff like that, and how it all like came to
They
where it
needed
is
to tell
now.
that story because that story led into Run DMC.
Yeah,
because the fashions were just getting weirder and weirder and weirder because people were trying to outdo each other,
Mm-hmm.
like fashion wise. And then Run DMC had their group start, performing, and they just took it way back to like what people were actually wearing in the neighborhood,
Mm-hmm.
which
nobody had done before.
and people really identified with. So
Yeah.
they launched Adidas, like that shoe that guy was saying. What was the name of the shoe?
It's called the Superstar.
the Superstar.
Most people know him as the Shelto Adidas, or
Yes.
like the Run DMC one with the 3 lines on it.
which are still around today,
Mm-hmm.
crazily. And they started wearing those, and they single-handedly relaunched that shoe.
Yeah, because they said that they were not a popular shoe.
no one
Yeah.
was buying them.
And there's a cool little story in this about they were just promoting it as just like, this is what we wear, this is like what we are, and they have the song My Adidas, and they said that when they played Madison Square Garden, DJ Run told everybody to hold up their Adidas, and it was like everyone in the crowd's like holding up an Adidas.
That place
sticker.
just stunk after that, dude. It stunk like feet.
But that gave them after they got off stage, then they got a deal with Adidas, like an official deal.
And they got $1 million.
Yeah.
One of the things I really liked about this movie too is it did a good job illustrating how people who maybe are poor, don't have much money, just take what they have and get creative with it, and are so passionate about it that it turns into a real thing that other people are willing to pay for.
Yeah.
Like when they would color the stripes on the Adidas,
Yeah.
and then they would start selling those colors.
Yeah.
It also reminds me of, this may sound weird, but lobster. Like, lobster is expensive now, but it used to be a food for peasants. Like, no one would eat lobster. It wasn't an expensive food.
Oh, really?
And then they turned it into like this thing where they would eat it so often that it became popular. And now, even today, it's like if you want to buy lobster, it's really expensive.
That's
but
interesting.
it used to be totally like the food that peasants would eat, right?
It's kind of like a perception thing, right? It's like what is perceived as a
Yeah.
value. Like
Yeah.
almost like the Jelly Belly thing, right?
Right.
They're not really like more expensive, but they make it seem like
That's
it's
funny.
like
I never even really
gourmet
thought
thing,
about that.
right?
Yeah, like they weren't really, they're probably not even more expensive to produce.
No, why would they be?
Yeah. Yeah, I never considered that. I'm like, oh, they must just use better ingredients or something.
I mean, it may be a little bit, but nothing that's gonna cost they cost like friggin' $3.50 for a stupid little
Oh my
bag.
gosh, they do.
And I go there and I still buy it.
You know what's crazy though is that I was thinking about this the other day, because now whenever I go to a grocery store, I always look for those sour Jelly Bellies. That segment changed my life. It did, because I'd never eaten Jelly Bellies before, and I'd had jelly beans, but I'm like, the type of candy I like is sour candy.
Yeah,
that's
me too.
the kind that I love the most.
Yeah.
So when I had those, like the outer like shell was like so like chewy, and then it was sour. My mouth is starting to water down just thinking about it. That bag was super delicious, and I started.
I licked the inside.
I licked the inside. You don't do that. And I was looking for crumbs on my table.
Yeah.
So good. And I
You're
bought
like
another
Gollum
bag.
now.
Yeah. But they're so expensive. I mean, they're like $4 a bag.
Yeah, $3.50 a bag at the grocery store that I go to.
Are they really?
Every once in a while, I'll treat myself, but I'll down those things. That's
Do
the
you?
bad thing.
I force myself to
You
ration
have
them.
willpower, my friend.
Yeah, because I just like keep them out of sight.
Yeah.
Because you do want to just put them in a bowl, right? It's like
Yeah.
they're so shiny and hard. Like you just want to put them in a bowl, and just like every once in a while, just grab a couple.
We should do I think it's in Northern California. We should visit their headquarters one day and see if we can get free stuff.
That would actually be great. Just be like, hey, we talked about how terrible people you were for stealing this company away.
One of our viewers is like, "Why are you guys eating
Yeah,
them?"
why are you guys eating them? And I was like, they're delicious,
Yeah.
dude. It's out of my control. I can't stop my hand. Anyway, did you want to say anything else about Just for Kicks?
No, I'm glad that you liked it though, because I was wondering about that. I was like, oh, should I pick a different one? But I saw a spark of potential in this little documentary.
It was oddly entertaining, and it definitely took me back to another time, and it put me into a place. Movies don't do this very often, at least for me. It put me into a place that I used to be, and I was like, whoa. You remember when like the set of feelings come back? And you're like, I remember feeling these feelings before, but it's been a long time.
Yeah.
And that's what it did for me. So it just filled me with nostalgia. And I was like, wow, I totally forgot that this place and time in my life had existed.
That's cool. Nostalgia's good.
I really liked it.
I'm a big advocate.
Anyway, if you didn't watch the movie with us, shame on you.
And it stars the kids from the Adam Sandler movie.
That's right. It stars those two crazy kids from the Adam Sandler movie. They don't start talking about shoes till close to the end. So make sure you stay tuned to the whole movie. Once they win the big game, that's when they start going into b-boy culture.
I kind of wish they would have talked about the pumps, the Reebok pumps, because those were a big deal.
They were a huge deal.
And then the air pockets, when the air pockets came around, that was a big deal.
But you know what I liked about
But I guess
movie?
they couldn't dissect everything, right?
There was so much they could have done. Is I do like that they, by ignoring all that stuff, they were able to really tell the story of how it all began.
Yeah.
And that for me, I'm like, wow, I think that's really what they accomplished in the documentary, is just illustrating how all this crazy footwear stuff that we wear started, and how people were just shooting each other and stabbing each other back then before the British Knights came out.
Dude, I had British Knights. Yeah. I was gonna say, I had the blacktop
BKs,
British Knights.
dude.
Yeah.
I remember how people used to get like shot and stabbed over BKs.
I don't know why I could get. For some reason, they must have been on sale at Fred Meyer or something. Because I don't know why I got.
You used to shop for clothes at Fred Meyer.
Yeah.
Oh, I used to have to do that too.
I don't know
hated
why
it.
that I had whenever we went shoe shopping, my dad was like, you can look at the ones 70 or below. And then I'd have to like scan for the
70
one.
or below is pretty good.
Well, maybe like sometimes 60 or below, 70 or below, something like that. And then it'd be like I'd have to like pick the coolest shoes for that much money. I didn't have the rich kid parents like.
Dude, me either. I did not grow up rich at all, so we were constantly trying to fool people and thinking I had cool clothes. Remember when those blue Gap shirts used to be really popular, like the button-up ones? Maybe you don't.
So. In
And
high school?
No, this is actually in
elementary
elementary school for me, so
Okay.
it would have been for you as well.
Yeah.
Never mind. So I ended up wearing like this blue button-up shirt, and I remember somebody was like, "Is that a Gap shirt?" And I didn't even know what the Gap was. And he was so impressed. I was like, "Oh yeah, it is, right?"
It's always funny. Like I have a story like that. One time I found. Do you remember when like it would be like a puffy type vest, almost like Marty McFly?
Yeah, I had one of those.
But not super puffy, like a little bit. And I remember I saw Will Smith wear one on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and then I found one that like was in my grandma's attic, and then I wore it like the next day, and everyone thought it was super cool. But it was like some old thing that she'd made.
They're like, "Oh man, you're just like Fresh Prince."
Yeah.
They're like, "Well, you
Yeah.
know, that's cool."
So, but cool. I'm glad that you liked it. Go check it out Just for Kicks on Netflix.
Yeah, so that's all we got for this show. If you want to stay up with our antics, and Roberto's Kickstarter project, how would they go? How would they do that?
You can go
It's
and
complicated.
find me on Twitter. It's just at Roberto Hoyos, RobertoHoyos, and at Throwboy on Twitter, at Throwboy.
I'm at Airphone on Twitter. That's just ERFON. And for those of you joining us via Blip, you can always subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. And you can subscribe to the video or the audio. Now that we're putting out audio, we're not sure how many of you guys are listening to the audio. Hopefully a lot.
Yeah, let us know.
Let us know if you're listening to the audio. If you switched over from video and you're like, audio is easier for me, let us know. We're always interested to hear.
Yeah.
And then you can also watch all of our episodes on YouTube without downloading anything. And that's just userfriendlyshow.com.
No, it isn't.
YouTube.com/user-friendly-show. And search for user-friendly on iTunes.
Oh, and one more thing. I was going to show you real quick.
Okay.
We have new pillow fighters.
Booyah. Fighting. Dude, I think this is one of my
We have
favorites.
Captain
Yeah.
Pillow Fighter and Iron Pillow Fighter.
Look how pissed he looks. Let me see that one. Yeah, these look great.
So those actually, he has a shield that goes along with his.
Oh, he does? How does it stay on?
I need to fasten it with this little. piece
Oh,
of
can you
thread.
do like a little thing of like Velcro or something?
Yeah, I think I might just do that. But
That's
these are
great.
These are now on throwboy.etsy.com, and
This is nice.
you can see.
Are you doing those by hand?
Yeah,
Good grief.
yeah,
These are $15.
yeah.
These should be more.
They should be. So,
yeah,
so go
I mean,
buy them.
if you like, once you see one in your hand, it's like it's just super detailed.
But yeah, get one of these guys because the movie's coming out in like 2 weeks.
Is it really?
You can line up with him in your arms when you're lining up at the movies.
That's true.
Everyone will think you're cool.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, you're cool.
So
All right, guys. Well, that's it.
that's
We'll
it.
see you guys next time. But until next time, we'll see you guys
Next
the next time.
You got me doing it.